The shattered world of Job. Imagine, if you will, the dawn of a day that begins like any other. The desert, bathed in the golden light of the rising sun. A picture of tranquility. A day that holds the promise of life, of continuity, of the familiar rhythms of existence. But in the blink of an eye, this serenity is shattered. The sky darkens, the wind howls, and a sandstorm, a tempest of chaos, descends upon the land. This is not merely a natural phenomenon, it is a metaphor for the sudden, inexplicable tragedies that can engulf our lives. Job, a man of profound faith, a pillar of his community, finds his world irrevocably altered. In a single devastating day, the foundations of his existence crumble. His wealth, the tangible symbol of his success and security, is swept away. His children, the very embodiment of his legacy and love, are taken from him. His health, the vessel of his strength and vitality, is ravaged. He is left with nothing but the dust of his shattered dreams, the ashes of his lost world. His story is not a tale of stoic acceptance, of quiet resignation. It is a primal scream, a raw, unflinching protest against the apparent injustice of his fate. Job does not passively endure, he actively wrestles with the divine, demanding answers from a seemingly silent sky. He is a man confronting the void, questioning the very nature of God's justice, the very meaning of suffering. And yet, within this tempest of rage, within this abyss of despair, a profound paradox emerges. The seeds of hope, not a facile, simplistic hope, but a hope forged in the crucible of suffering, a hope that transcends the limitations of human understanding. How do we, as finite beings, confront suffering that defies all rational explanation? How do we reconcile the existence of a loving God with the presence of inexplicable pain? Where do we find light in life's darkest valleys, when the shadows seem to stretch endlessly before us? These are the questions that Job's story forces us to confront. Questions that echo through the ages, resonating with the deepest longings of the human heart. Job's experience is a mirror, reflecting our own inner struggles, our own moments of doubt, our own desperate cries for meaning. His story invites us to join him in the ashes, to confront the uncomfortable truths of our existence, and to discover that even in the midst of despair, there is a path to hope. A path that leads us beyond the limitations of our understanding. A path that brings us closer to the heart of the divine. The illusion of control. Before the storm, there was a garden. Job's life, a landscape of abundance. A testament to what appeared to be divine favor. We see him, not as a static figure, but in vibrant motion, surrounded by the laughter of his children, his voice mingling with theirs in joyous play, overseeing his vast flocks, a shepherd of prosperity, his very presence radiating confidence and security. This was a life built on the bedrock of perceived righteousness, a life where the lines between piety and prosperity seemed seamlessly intertwined. Then, the shattering. Without warning, the garden withers. The landscape is ravaged. A flicker of flame, a swift descent of raiders, the earth itself opening to swallow his home. These are not mere misfortunes. They are seismic shifts, a violent uprooting of everything Job held dear. The prosperous shepherd is now a solitary figure, his laughter replaced by the silence of grief, his confidence shattered by the weight of incomprehensible loss. Job's life shatters without warning. His friends arrive, armed with a theology as brittle as the pottery scattered amidst the ruins. They offer the comfort of a tidy narrative. You must have sinned. A simple equation, a divine balance sheet, where suffering is always the ledger of transgression. But Job, in his raw, unfiltered anguish, rejects their platitudes. His cry is not a whisper of doubt, but a roar of protest, a challenge to the very foundation of their transactional faith. "Does God pervert justice?" he cries, the words echoing with the pain of a man betrayed, the bewilderment of a soul adrift. He exposes the illusion of control, the fragile scaffolding upon which we build our lives. We are not the architects of our fate, nor can we manipulate divine favor through righteous deeds alone. Job's cry is a challenge to a simplistic transactional view of faith, a reminder that the righteous can suffer and the wicked can thrive. This is not a comfortable truth, but it is a necessary one. We live under the illusion of control. We build our lives on foundations of wealth, security, and perceived righteousness. Job, too, lived with this illusion, believing that his piety would shield him from harm. But life, and indeed the divine, is not a transaction. The divine is not a vending machine where good deeds produce good outcomes. His friends arrive, armed with the comforting but ultimately inadequate theology of retribution. "You must have sinned," they declare, their words echoing the simplistic notion that suffering is always a direct consequence of wrongdoing. But Job, in his agony, refuses to accept these easy answers. He knows that life is more complex, that suffering is often arbitrary, and that God's ways are beyond human comprehension. "Does God pervert justice?" he cries, his voice a challenge to the very notion of a just and predictable universe. He stares into the shattered mirror of his life and finds the reflection of God is also shattered. The perfect image of a just and understandable God is shattered by the reality of unexplainable suffering. Trauma theology. Lament as faithful protest. In the aftermath of devastation, when the comfortable narratives of faith crumble, what remains? Job, his face a landscape of grief, his eyes reflecting the storm within, offers us a profound answer. Lament. This is not the passive acceptance of suffering, but an active, visceral engagement with it. It is the raw, unfiltered expression of pain, a cry that refuses to be silenced. Theologian Walter Brueggemann, with his deep understanding of the human spirit's encounter with the divine, illuminates this truth. Lament is a form of prayer. It is a language of loss, yes, but also a language of longing, a language of desperate hope. Job's cries, his anguished questions are not a rejection of God, but a desperate, even courageous attempt to reach him, to pierce the veil of silence that separates the human heart from the divine. He refuses the hollow comfort of easy answers, the platitudes that offer a superficial balm but fail to address the depth of his pain. He understands that true faith is not about suppressing doubt or denying suffering, but about confronting them with honesty and vulnerability. This is the essence of trauma theology. Honesty is holiness. To weep, to rage, to question, these are not signs of spiritual weakness, but acts of profound spiritual courage. Walter Brueggemann, a theologian of profound insight, reminds us that lament is not a rejection of faith, but a vital expression of it. Job's cries are not blasphemy, but a desperate, faithful engagement with the divine. He is wrestling with God, demanding accountability, refusing to let go of the relationship that sustains him, even in the midst of unbearable pain. Trauma theology teaches us that honesty is holiness. To weep, to rage, to question. These are not signs of weakness, but acts of spiritual courage. In the midst of unbearable pain, Job refuses to turn away from God. He confronts him, demands answers, and in doing so enters into a deeper, more authentic relationship. This is not a polite conversation with God. This is a brawl, a spiritual wrestling match. This holy rage is a testament to the human spirit's refusal to be silenced, to the enduring belief that even in the face of unimaginable suffering, there is still a God who hears our cries. It is the recognition that our pain, our doubt, our questions are not obstacles to faith, but pathways to a deeper understanding of the divine, that a relationship with God is not always peaceful, but can be and often is a struggle. It is in this struggle that true faith is formed. Personal tragedies, the cancer ward, the ancient lament of Job, a cry wrenched from the very depths of human suffering, finds its echo in the sterile, hushed corridors of modern hospitals. Here, in the stark reality of the cancer ward, the story of Job is not a distant narrative, but a lived experience. Modern Jobs, bearing the weight of illness, of loss, of unimaginable pain, sit beneath the cold fluorescent lights, their faces etched with a weary resolve. Look closely and you will see the same questions that tormented Job, the same anguished cries that shook the foundations of his faith. A mother, her voice barely a whisper, pleads, "Why, my child? Why this innocent life, this precious soul, consumed by a disease that knows no mercy?" Her question is not merely a demand for information. It is a desperate plea for meaning in the face of senseless suffering. It is a cry that pierces the veil of our comfortable certainties, forcing us to confront the raw, unanswerable why that haunts the human heart. In another corner, a veteran, his body scarred by the wounds of war, trembles with the invisible wounds of PTSD. "What did I do to deserve this?" he asks, his voice thick with a mixture of grief and rage. "What sin, what transgression could justify the horrors I have witnessed, the nightmares that haunt my waking hours?" His question is not a challenge to divine justice, but a desperate attempt to find a semblance of order in a world that seems utterly chaotic. He is a man grappling with the moral weight of his experiences, searching for a way to reconcile the violence he has seen with the goodness he longs to believe in. These are not merely medical cases. They are human beings, each carrying a universe of pain, each wrestling with the same existential questions that Job confronted millennia ago. Like Job, they find themselves standing at the edge of the abyss, staring into the darkness of the unknown. They seek not easy answers, not simplistic platitudes, but a glimmer of hope, a sense of connection, a reminder that they are not alone in their suffering. And in the midst of their pain, we witness a profound defiance, a resolute refusal to surrender to despair. It is not a defiant hope born of denial, but a hope forged in the crucible of suffering, a hope that acknowledges the reality of pain while refusing to be defined by it. It is a hope that whispers, even in the face of overwhelming darkness, that love, compassion, and resilience can still prevail. It is a hope that is truly Job-like. Systemic suffering, climate displacement, the ancient lament of Job, a cry against injustice and inexplicable suffering, finds a chilling resonance in the 21st century. The floodwaters that engulf villages, the parched lands that yield no harvest, the forced migrations that displace entire communities. These are not merely environmental disasters. They are modern-day afflictions, a testament to the systemic suffering that plagues our world. The faces of climate refugees, burdened with the meager remnants of their shattered lives, mirror the anguish of Job. They are the unwilling inheritors of a crisis they did not create, victims of a system that prioritizes short-term gain over long-term sustainability. Their cries, like Job's, are a challenge to our collective conscience, a demand for accountability in the face of ecological devastation. Greta Thunberg's impassioned plea, "How dare you look away," echoes the very heart of Job's protest. It is a rebuke to our indifference, a condemnation of our willingness to turn a blind eye to the suffering of the vulnerable. It exposes the systemic injustices that perpetuate inequality, the callous disregard that allows the powerful to ignore the plight of the marginalized. This is not merely a political issue. It is a moral and spiritual crisis. It is a stark reminder that our actions have consequences, that our choices impact not only our own lives, but the lives of generations to come. It challenges us to confront the idolatry of consumerism, the insatiable hunger for material wealth that drives us to exploit the earth and its resources. Yet, even in the face of this overwhelming suffering, a glimmer of hope emerges. It is the same resilient spirit that sustained Job in his darkest hour. Communities come together, offering shelter, food, and support to those who have lost everything. Individuals rise up, demanding change, advocating for justice, and working to heal the wounds inflicted upon our planet. This is the paradoxical nature of the human spirit. Even in its brokenness, it finds the strength to heal and to rebuild. Like Job, who found restoration amidst the ruins, these communities demonstrate the enduring power of hope, the unwavering belief that even in the midst of chaos, love and compassion can prevail. In the face of systemic sin, in the face of a world that seems to be falling apart, the light of human kindness and the reflection of the divine within us shines. This is the truth that Job knew, and it is the truth that we must embrace today. God's response, awe over answers. After the whirlwind of Job's anguished cries, after the relentless interrogation of divine justice, a profound shift occurs. The storm clouds part, and the veil is lifted. What Job encounters is not a philosophical treatise, nor a detailed explanation of his suffering, but a breathtaking revelation of the cosmos itself. The vast expanse of the Milky Way, a swirling tapestry of light and wonder, fills the screen, a silent testament to the grandeur of creation. God answers Job not with reasons, but with wonder. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation?" This is not a dismissal, a curt silencing of Job's questions. Rather, it is an invitation, a gentle nudge towards a different kind of understanding. It is a call to trade the limitations of human certainty for the boundless expanse of divine awe. God's response is not an answer, but a revelation. It is an invitation to step outside the confining walls of our intellectual constructs, to leave behind the demand for neat, tidy explanations, and to behold the sheer, overwhelming majesty of creation. It is a call to see that the universe is far more complex, far more beautiful, far more mysterious than we could ever imagine. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades? Can you loose the cords of Orion? God asks. These questions are not meant to intimidate, to diminish Job's humanity. They are meant to awaken within him and within us a sense of awe and wonder, a recognition of our place within the grand tapestry of existence. They are a poetic way of showing the sheer power of the divine. The universe is not a machine, a predictable clockwork mechanism that operates according to rigid laws. It is a living, breathing tapestry of interconnectedness, a symphony of existence that defies our attempts at complete comprehension. It is a dance of galaxies, a delicate balance of ecosystems, a symphony of life and death, all orchestrated by a divine hand. Within its complexity there is a profound beauty, a divine artistry that speaks to the very depths of our being. that resonates with the deepest longings of the human soul. It is in that moment, in the face of such overwhelming grandeur, that Job's perspective shifts. He is not given the why of his suffering, but he is given the what of existence. What a wonder that the universe is, with its infinite expanse and intricate detail. What a wonder that he, a mere mortal, exists within it, a tiny speck of consciousness in the vast cosmic ocean. What a wonder that a being such as God, the creator of all things, would choose to speak to him at all, to engage with him in such a profound and personal way. This is not a God of simple answers, a God who can be reduced to a set of theological formulas. This is a God of profound mystery, a God who transcends our limited understanding. This is a God who invites us to embrace the unknown, to find solace in the vastness of his creation, to discover that true faith is not about having all the answers, but about trusting in the one who holds all things together. This is a God that shows that the beauty of creation is an answer in itself. Mary Reiko's This Is Why I Came, rewriting suffering. After the cosmic revelation, after the awe-inspiring encounter with the divine, we return to the human realm, to the intimate landscape of grief and healing. Here, in the pages of Mary Reiko's This Is Why I Came, we find a contemporary echo of Job's journey, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to transform suffering. In Mary Reiko's novel, loss becomes a canvas for new creation. It is not about erasing the pain, pretending it never happened, but about integrating it, weaving it into the very fabric of one's being. Like Job, her characters discover that hope is not found in the absence of suffering, but in the ability to find meaning within it, to see it as a thread in a larger tapestry of redemption. Mary Reiko, in her powerful novel This Is Why I Came, delves into the depths of human grief, exploring the transformative potential of suffering. She shows us that pain, rather than being a dead end, a desolate wasteland, can become a catalyst for new creation, a fertile ground for growth and transformation. It is not about simply surviving pain, but about allowing it to reshape us. Like Job, her characters grapple with profound loss and grief. They face the abyss of despair, but they refuse to be defined by their pain. They refuse to allow suffering to become the final chapter of their story. Instead, they learn to weave it into the fabric of their lives, to transform it into something meaningful and beautiful, to find a way to make it a part of who they are without it destroying them. This is the alchemy of suffering, the ability to find gold in the ashes, to discover hope in the midst of despair. It is the realization that even in our brokenness, we are capable of creating something new, something that reflects the resilience of the human spirit, something that bears witness to the enduring power of love. It is the making of something beautiful from something broken. Suffering does not have to be a period at the end of a sentence, a definitive conclusion to our story. It can be a comma, a semicolon, a chance to continue the sentence in a new and unexpected way, a chance to write a new chapter. It is an invitation to rewrite our narrative, to find meaning in our pain, and to discover that even in the midst of darkness, there is always the possibility of light, always the potential for hope. For believers, faith beyond formulas. For those who walk the path of faith, Job's story is a liberating breath of fresh air, a release from the suffocating weight of theological certainties. It dismantles the rigid structures of everything happens for a reason, freeing us from the burden of constantly trying to decipher God's supposed cosmic spreadsheet. It's a truth that cuts through the noise of platitudes and brings us to the quiet honesty of a real encounter with God. To believers, Job's story frees you from the tyranny of everything happens for a reason. That phrase, often uttered with well-meaning intent, can become a cage, trapping us in a cycle of self-blame or forcing us to rationalize the inexplicable. Job's experience shatters that cage, reminding us that God's ways are not our ways, and that suffering is not always a divine leisure of our sins. Faith is not a contract, a transactional agreement where good deeds guarantee good outcomes. It is a relationship, a living, breathing connection with the divine, a journey of trust and surrender. It is a willingness to walk with God through the dark valleys, even when we cannot see the path ahead, to embrace the mystery, even when we crave the false comfort of certainty, like Christ on the cross, who cried out, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" We are allowed to question, to doubt, to express our pain. This is not a sign of weakness, a failure of faith. It is an act of courage, a testament to the depth and authenticity of our relationship with God. It is to say, "I am yours, even when I do not understand." True faith can handle our doubt. It is not threatened by our questions, but deepened by them. It is in the wrestling with our doubt, in the honest confrontation with our fears and uncertainties, that our faith can become stronger, more resilient, more authentic. It is in the vulnerability of our doubt that we find a deeper connection to a God who is also vulnerable. It is in the spaces of our doubt that God can truly enter. It is in those moments that the light of faith shines the brightest. For seekers, the sacredness of questions. For those who stand outside the walls of established belief. For those who grapple with skepticism and doubt, Job's story offers a profound invitation. It is a reminder that wisdom is not confined to the pages of sacred texts or the pronouncements of religious authorities. It is a truth that resonates with the very core of our shared human experience. To skeptics, you need not accept dogma to find wisdom here. Job's protest is universal, a human cry against injustice, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to question, to challenge, to seek meaning in the face of the absurd. His story asks, can we honor pain without demanding meaning? Can we find connection in shared vulnerability, in the recognition of our shared fragility? To those who are skeptical, Job's story offers a profound reflection on the human condition. It reminds us that we are all vulnerable, that we all experience pain, that we all yearn for meaning, regardless of our beliefs or lack thereof. This yearning for meaning, this shared vulnerability, is the very foundation of our common humanity. You need not accept any particular dogma to find wisdom in Job's protest. It is a universal cry against injustice, a testament to the human spirit's refusal to be silenced, to be diminished, to be defined by suffering. It is a reminder that even in the absence of absolute certainty, we can still find strength in our questions, courage in our doubt. His story invites us to honor pain without demanding meaning, to acknowledge the reality of suffering, to sit with it, to bear witness to it, without feeling compelled to explain it away or to rationalize it. It invites us to find connection in shared vulnerability, to recognize that we are not alone in our struggles, that our pain is a part of the human experience, and to recognize the sacredness of our questions, to understand that doubt is not the enemy of truth, but a pathway to deeper understanding. We can find common ground in our shared humanity, in our shared experience of suffering, in our shared search for hope. It is in these shared experiences, in the moments of vulnerability and honesty, that we discover our deepest connections, our most profound sense of belonging. It is in the willingness to listen, to empathize, to bear witness, that we find the true meaning of compassion, the true essence of human connection. Meditation. Let us pause now and enter into the stillness within. Let us move beyond the intellectual and engage with the emotional and spiritual resonance of Job's story. Close your eyes if you wish, and allow yourself to connect with the emotions that have been stirred within you. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to feel the weight of Job's suffering, the raw anguish of his cries, the quiet desperation of his search for meaning. Feel the tremor of your own vulnerabilities, the echoes of your own struggles with loss, with doubt, with the silence of the divine. Where have you felt God's silence? Not necessarily as an absence of God, but as the absence of the answers you crave. The silence that can feel deafening in the face of profound pain. What unanswered why lingers in your heart? A question that gnaws at your soul, seeking a resolution that may never come. How can your pain, your own unique experience of suffering, become a bridge to others? Can it be a source of empathy, a conduit for connection, a testament to the shared human experience? Can you find a way to translate your pain into something meaningful, into a source of strength for yourself and for others? Now imagine yourself sitting with Job in the ashes, not as an observer, but as a fellow traveler, a companion in suffering. Share your own story with him, your own questions, your own doubts. Listen to his cries, feel the depth of his despair, and offer him the solace of your presence, the quiet comfort of shared humanity. What would you say to him? What would he say to you? And then turn inward. Write a letter to God, to yourself, to the world. Let it be raw, unfiltered, an honest expression of your deepest self. Let it be a testament to your vulnerability, a recognition of your pain, and a hope for healing. Don't worry about grammar or eloquence. Let the words flow freely, a stream of consciousness, a release of the emotions that have been stirred within you. This is where healing begins, not in grand pronouncements or intellectual solutions, but in the quiet space of reflection, in the honest acknowledgement of our pain. It is in this stillness that we connect with the deepest parts of ourselves, with the divine within, and with the shared humanity that binds us all together. Call to action, the communion of suffering. After the stillness of reflection, after the intimate encounter with our own pain and the pain of Job, we are called to action. For Job's story is not merely a philosophical exercise. It is a call to live differently, to engage with the world in a way that reflects the compassion and empathy we have discovered within ourselves. Job's friends failed him until they sat in silence. In Job chapter 2, verse 13, we find a profound truth. True companionship is not about offering solutions, but about sharing the burden of suffering. It is about being present, bearing witness, and offering the silent comfort of shared humanity. Job's friends failed him when they tried to offer easy answers, when they attempted to impose their rigid theological frameworks onto his lived experience. They offered the theology of the head, a sterile collection of doctrines and platitudes, but they lacked the compassion of the heart, the willingness to enter into the raw, unfiltered reality of his pain. True companionship comes not from fixing, from offering quick fixes, but from simply being present, from offering the quiet reassurance of "I am here with you." Hope emerges not in isolation, in the solitary pursuit of self-sufficiency, but in community, in the shared experience of vulnerability and resilience. Today, be someone's silent companion. Listen without judgment, without the need to analyze or critique. To weep without reservation, allowing your tears to mingle with the tears of those who suffer. Offer a hand without expectation, without the need for reciprocation. This is how light breaks into darkness, how love triumphs over despair, how the communion of suffering becomes a source of strength and healing. It is in the shared vulnerability, in the willingness to bear each other's burdens, that we find the true meaning of community, the true essence of compassion. It is in the act of empathy that we show the world the reflection of the divine. Go and be the hands of hope in a world that desperately needs it. Be the embodiment of compassion, the living expression of love, not in grand gestures or heroic acts, but in the small, everyday acts of kindness, in the quiet moments of presence, in the willingness to bear witness to the suffering of others. Be the light that shines in the darkness, the beacon of hope that guides others through the storm, the embodiment of the love that never fails. The dawn beyond understanding, as the darkness recedes, and the first rays of dawn paint the desert sky, we witness a scene of profound beauty, a testament to the enduring power of hope. The barren landscape, once scarred by devastation, is now adorned with a tapestry of wildflowers, a vibrant symbol of life's resilience, of nature's capacity for renewal. Job, older and weathered, his face etched with the wisdom of experience, smiles as children play, their laughter echoing through the air, a symphony of joy that fills the heart. Job's restoration isn't a reward, a transactional exchange for his suffering, but a promise, a glimpse into the heart of divine compassion. It is a testament to the enduring power of love and hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, the dawn will eventually break, and that life, in its infinite capacity for renewal, will find a way to bloom again. The universe, in its vastness and mystery, bends toward redemption. Not that suffering ceases, that pain is magically erased, but that love, in its infinite capacity to endure, outlasts it. Not that answers are always given, that every question is neatly resolved, but that companionship, the silent presence of love, is always offered. A constant beacon in the midst of uncertainty. Our task is not to understand every mystery, to solve every riddle of existence, but to embrace the journey, to walk alongside one another, to carry each other's burdens, to offer the solace of our presence, the comfort of our compassion. It is to recognize that we are not solitary travelers on this path, but members of a vast, interconnected community, bound together by love and hope. We are all threads in the tapestry of redemption, woven together by love, bound together by hope. Each thread, with its unique texture and color, contributes to the beauty and complexity of the whole. And in the end, when the tapestry is complete, when the final chapter is written, it is love that will have the final word, love that will transcend all boundaries, love that will ultimately prevail. It is love that binds creation together, and it is love that will bring us home. Thank you for accompanying us on this profound exploration of Job's cry and the search for hope within deep suffering. If this journey into the depths of human pain and the heights of divine mystery has touched you, we invite you to join the Hope in God community. Please subscribe to our channel for more theological reflections that seek to illuminate the complexities of faith and life. Please share your own experiences of encountering grace in the midst of your own struggles in the comment section below, and let us build a community of support. Let us continue together, finding hope in every step of our shared pilgrimage towards a deeper understanding of God's unwavering love. We encourage you to share this video with anyone who may be struggling